Gauteng High Court has ruled that hospitals, schools and police stations must not be affected by power cuts. Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan has been given 60 days to take steps to ensure these establishments aren't impacted by electricity blackouts. Some political parties, including ActionSA, took the department to court in a bid to spare clinics, hospitals and schools from blackouts. For reaction, I'm joined now by ActionSA's advocate Gill Benson. Advocate Benson, thank you so much for speaking to us. A considerable victory.
A considerable victory. We are most chuffed at the outcome. I apologise for the light quality. We are busy load shedding here in Fourways.
No worries. Can you tell us whether you expected this outcome or whether you were expecting to face a bit of an uphill battle, given the fact that Eskom had said that so many of these institutions, schools, clinics, hospitals and police stations are very embedded into the grid, saying that, you know, in all likelihood it would be very difficult to isolate many of these facilities?
Well, initially, the response was from government that this was a municipal function and it was the municipality's duty to supply electricity to these institutions. So we were rather surprised by the turnabout at court when we were advised by the Council for Government in particular that they had already rolled out generators for the majority of the hospitals. They didn't really deal with the issue of schools. And the issue then arose as to whether there was sufficient diesel for these institutions to keep running. Upon further investigation, it turned out that it appeared that most of the government hospitals were in fact left off the grid in any event and were not shed since the institution of the application. When the court indicated to us that Part B of our application will be proceeding in September of this year, it became rather evident that we would have some relief in terms of Part A, but we're ecstatic at the outcome. I haven't had an opportunity, we only got the judgment at approximately 4 o'clock today. I haven't had an opportunity to peruse the judgment and study it effectively, but as I said, we're ecstatic at the outcome, and I'm glad that the poorest of the poor are going to benefit from our efforts in this regard.
So given how long we've been facing blackouts in South Africa, 60 days is not a very long time for the Department of Public Enterprises and Pravin Gordhan to make alternative arrangements. Do you think that's going to be sufficient? And should that not be met, what happens then?
Well, as I said, on their own version, they said that they've already provided generators to the hospitals. So now they've got to take care of the schools. I know that during the court case, they were going to Polokwane and delivering generators. So the generators to hospitals should be covered. And I don't think that another 2 months, given we've had 15 years of load shedding, is insufficient. Bearing in mind, we argued this matter February, so they've had sufficient time in that period, knowing that the matter is proceeding in September. They've had ample opportunity to now make a plan, knowing that this was ultimately going to come. I do see that there are reports that this is a shock judgment. I don't believe that it is. They had given undertakings to the full bench that they would be making a plan. So I don't think 60 days is insurmountable. When they've had 15 years, they've got now a Minister of Electricity that is costing taxpayers a fortune. So one would hope that that is going to come to fruition and bear some fruit for the communities that are to be served now by the order.
So we've got thousands upon thousands of schools and police stations included in this judgment. Apart from just providing them with generators, will the diesel supply also be included? Because no doubt public schools simply do not have the kind of budget to provide for diesel.
No, they don't. So this is something that they need to deal with internally with Treasury and the Department of the Minister of Enterprises is going to have to work with government. The court has ordered him to work with or without other spheres of government to achieve this. So however they do that, it must now be done. I think that there's been, as I've said to you, they said to the court, not the applicants, they said to the court that they have already started rolling out these generators and making provision for the diesel. So if they advise the court that they are capable of doing that, then they must fulfill that promise.
You don't foresee any appeals or any court judgments to oppose or court applications to oppose the judgment?
Ordinarily, interim orders, because this is just an interim order pending Part B of this application, as I said, that goes ahead in September. But I foresee that although interim orders on the face of it are not appealable, that we will probably be receiving an appeal on this.
Thank you so much for your reaction on that judgment. That was the ActionSA's advocate, Gill Benson, telling us that it's not a shock judgment and that they had been expecting this outcome.